Okay, first things first. Yes, I did technically say I was going to see Proud Mary next. I basically had to move that to Monday because I remembered, oh wait, the Commuter's in my new opening title sequence, and I figured, well, I should probably do that one first. And like I said, Proud Mary is going to be moved to Monday. It's not the Martin Luther King thing, that just happened to be coinciding on the same day. I was going to see the Commuter last night, but just every blasted thing got in the way. As you can tell by the new location, it's been kind of a difficult week. The reason I'm here and not in my normal room is because my bathroom is getting remodeled, and that necessitated everything get moved out of my room because the bathroom adjoins to my room and had to get moved out to here. So, yeah, it's been, like I said, it's been a pretty hectic week. Anyway, I just got back from seeing The Commuter, starring Liam Neeson. In the film, he plays Mike McCauley, an ex-cop who he and his wife, who is played by Elizabeth McGovern, who I don't think I've seen in a film, my lord, in like 20, I want to say 23 years. The last film I remember Elizabeth McGovern making was The Favor. I can't even remember when that came out. All I know is like the early 90s, because that was like one of Brad Pitt's first roles. Anyway, Liam Neeson plays Mike McCauley, an ex-cop turned insurance agent who, had to. It doesn't exactly say why he left the police, but it is intimated it's because he and his wife basically lost their retirement savings in the 2008 economic crash, and he needed to find a better way to make money. So he enters insurance. He does pretty well, but he literally at the beginning of the film, he gets fired. He gets fired after 10 years of selling insurance. He and his wife have been really scraping by so they could at least afford their son's college fund. He got into Syracuse. He does not own a car anymore. He takes the commuter train, hence the name of everything. Anyway, after he gets fired, he's on the commuter train back to his home, thinking about how he's going to explain this to his wife. And a woman named Joanne, played by Vera Farmiga, basically is following him and approaches him. And they sort of start talking, and she sort of poses a hypothetical question to him, which was, if someone asked you to do something that could ruin one person's life, but I can't remember the exact nature of it. It's like, if you could do something that would affect one person on this train, but it would benefit you, would you do it? And he's like, not entirely sure. What would that entail? And she says, okay, listen, go into the men's room in this car. There is a package. That package contains $25,000. And I think it was something else. But we're looking for a witness named Prin, who, not a witness, sorry, that's later on. Someone named Prin who is carrying a special type of bag with something in it that we need. If you do this, if you take the money, you can take the $25,000. If you get this completed, you get an additional $75,000 on top of that, so you get $100,000. He doesn't really believe her, sort of laughs it off, and then he starts thinking about it. He gets up, he goes to the men's room, he finds the $25,000 in there. He's sort of trying to figure out what's going on. He gets a phone call from Joanne who says, yeah, listen, you're going to do this for us or we will kill your family. We have them hostage. And to prove it, they also point out that in the bag is a wedding ring, their wedding ring, his wife's wedding ring. So it's like, okay. He starts trying to figure out a way out of it. He tries to call his friend Murphy, who, yes, in this film, his buddy cop is named Alex Murphy. And no, it's not RoboCop. He calls his friend Murphy, tries to get through to him, but the reception isn't good, so everything keeps breaking up. He goes to a friend played by Jonathan Banks. He kind of scribbles a message down on the newspaper, and as Jonathan Banks is getting off the subway, he sort of notices it, and they kind of look at each other very briefly, and everything seems like, okay, he'll get to call the police at least. But as Jonathan Banks is walking out onto the street, or standing at a crosswalk, someone behind him shoves him into the path of a bus. And then the rest of the film is him trying to figure out who Prin, the person, is. And throughout a lot of this, there's a lot of way to go through. He has certain suspects. He's going through some of them. Like there's this stuck-up stockbroker who's taking the train for some reason, even though he normally doesn't. There's this student from Columbia University who's carrying this weird package. There's a man with a guitar on the train who doesn't seem to be normally taking it. There's another man who he doesn't recognize. Excuse me. And there's a buddy of his that actually still has a working phone that he has to borrow because that phone, his actual cell phone, gets stolen before he gets taken on the train. As the thing goes on, he thinks he manages to, he finds what is a GPS device on the person. He says, okay, look, you just put this GPS device. No one's going to get killed. You don't have to kill anyone. Blood will not be on your hands. We will take care of him. And this is from another phone call he gets. And he thinks he finds the person, and he puts the GPS thing in it. And it's not that person. That person gets killed. And it turns out that person was the person who got killed is an FBI agent. It's at this point, like I said, the film kind of gets really repetitive because it's simply like going to various suspects, eliminating suspects, finding something to not believe them. Like I said, it keeps kind of walking around. It really kind of just starts to repeat onto itself. There is one action point where, because he doesn't want to get caught with the corpse of the FBI agent, he basically hides with them under a floor panel in the train as the train starts to move. He actually has to kind of maneuver out from under the train before he gets run over. He has to pick up the bag of money that he still has, and he starts trying to climb onto the train. And in the midst of this, the $25,000 vanishes. So he loses all but $100 of it. It's at this point he comes up with the idea of cutting the power to several of the train cars. Not cutting the power, cutting the air conditioning. And it's like, look, the only one that has is this one car here at the train, so he gets all the suspects into one car. Again, he starts kind of eliminating suspects. The guy with the guitar turns out is working in league with the conspirators, and it's because he had a left-handed guitar and he was holding a gun in a right hand. And basically he gets into a fight with them. He finally sits there and explains to everyone what is happening, that his family is, it basically explains the whole scenario. And they're sort of trying to figure out who it is. Though it turns out it's none of his original thoughts, because there's one person he missed, who is this student who has been listening to her on her earphones the whole time and hasn't heard any of this. And it turns out that, yes, this is Prin, because she happens to be reading the Scarlet Letter. Get it? The main character in it is Hester Prynne. Turns out that she witnessed a city comptroller getting killed by the police. And there's evidence of something he was conspiring, or some secrets he was keeping, on a hard drive that she managed to swipe. She got in contact with the FBI. It turns out it was through Joanne. So, yeah. And at the point, he starts to kind of piece together things. Basically, the people behind the conspirators, I'm just going to call them because they're not formally named at all, reveal there's a bomb also planted on the train. They have to disconnect the car to avoid that and cause a train derailment. And they disconnect the car, but the car just barely gets away and gets thrown around. The police arrive, and they're kind of in this hostage negotiation scenario. Murphy goes in to try to negotiate, and through it all, Mike McCauley pieces together that Murphy was actually behind as part of this conspiracy as well. In fact, he's the one who routed Joanna to Mike and put the person exactly. So this is where it gets confusing. Sorry about that. Basically, Mike manages to trick Murphy into getting shot by his fellow police officers, a police sniper. They get the hard drive out. Everything at this point, Hawthorne, who is a sort of co-worker of Mike's who got promoted to captain recently, says, "We need more guys like you on the force." We've cut to a few months later. Mike finds Joanna in Chicago and says, "Yeah, look, you're going to tell us who's behind the. You didn't get away," and he's back on the force. Basically, that's the big revelation. So yeah. As for the film itself, like I said, there were some interesting moments. I mean, it's an interesting premise. Neeson is good enough as an actor that it's solid and believable throughout the whole thing. But after a while, like I said, it gets really repetitive and starts to grind. This thing was 104 minutes long, and it really did not need to be that long. I think you could have cut about, I'd say 20 minutes out of this. I think it would have been a much tighter film. But yeah, it's like I said, it's him going after a suspect, him going after another suspect, him going after another suspect. Call, threaten the family, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, blah blah blah, and yeah, then the whole conspiracy. And I think it's kind of telegraphed early on. It's like, okay, I'm willing to bet that Murphy's probably connected to it somehow. So it gets a little predictable. I will say this: it's not a bad film in the strictest sense of the term. I mean, if you look at Liam Neeson's late career resurgence as an action star, this is not as good as something like Taken or The Grey or Walk Amongst the Tombstones, but it's not as bad as, say, The A-Team or, oh, God, what was the one where he had like amnesia or something? I can't remember what it was called. Yeah, but it was not as bad as that one either. But yeah, exactly. It's square in the middle, and yeah, that's why I'm going to give this one a C. It's pretty average.
Sometimes you wonder how you ever made it.
Captain Freedom.
Yes, sir. Danger.
You move it, hairback.
The insanity.
Right this way, ladies. Your accommodations are ready. Captain wants to see you both in a turn.
And just when you think you've seen it all, that's when it's just getting good.
Let's be careful out there.
New York, you'll never be over the hill. Hill Street Blues, every weeknight at 8 this fall, only on Channel 11 WPIX.
Okay, it's trailer time. First up, we have Den of Thieves again. That'll be the movie we'll be seeing after Proud Mary. After that, we have Game Night, a comedy about a murder mystery theater simulation game gone horribly, horribly wrong, with Kyle Chandler and Jason Bateman. There's a few other people in there. After that, we have the remake of Death Wish with Bruce Willis. Yeah, I'm one of the few people that actually kind of likes Eli Roth as a director, but this remake does not look very good at all. After that, we have 1517 to Paris, the movie about the terror attack on the French train that the American soldiers, civilians who were intervened on it. And it's kind of interesting in the sense that it's the actual people involved in the film are starring in the film. It's not just it's not like, say, Sully or what was the other American Sniper. So there's kind of a unique thing there. After that, we have Red Sparrow, which is the Black Widow movie that has yet to be made. And after that, we have Hostiles, which is a film that's already in theaters. They're showing it in select markets, possibly so it can qualify for award season. And it's getting a mass release, I believe, next week. So yeah, that's how that wraps up. Like I said, the next video will be a review of Proud Mary. Next movie review will be Den of Thieves. Haven't been able, like I said, it's been so hectic around here, I've not been able to do the Marvel Netflix catch-up yet, so yeah, I'm still stuck on episodes 2 of Luke Cage and Iron Fist. Then after that, it's going to be the Random Trade Review, the Batgirl Destruction's Daughter. There's going to be a special supplemental episode with that, going over the history of the mantle of Batgirl. So, see you all next time. Hey guys, is there a movie you want me to tackle? Even if it's some stinker like Baywatch or the Emoji Movie or something else? Check out my Patreon at Sleepy Time for Cat Productions. See how you can make that happen.